I've always gone into games without excuses. If I was bad, then it was my fault, and there's always something I can improve upon. But after seeing my girlfriend play video games and say that I'm just naturally better than her, I started to think, are some players just born better? Hi guys, this is Eggwick, and today we're trying to answer the question, are some players just naturally better than others? If you like this vid, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's free and you can always unsubscribe at any time. Enjoy.
Also, he'll be live on Twitch almost every day at 8 PM GMT+8, and we'd love to have you.
First, let's talk about the aspects of gaming that are affected by genetics. Some examples are reaction time and hand-eye coordination. Although I don't want to admit it, some players will start out with better natural skill or ability compared to others. Some might have amazing reaction time from the get-go, while others will have to train it up. Some might also learn faster than the rest, but whether this is something that comes naturally to a person or a process they've picked up is unsure. Either way, the point I'm trying to make is that players will have different starting points, which is why some players might be suited to different types of games based on their natural inclinations. Like players who are good at critical thinking might be better at card games or RTS, and players with good hand-eye coordination for more mechanically intensive ones like FPS and fighting games. But, like any skill, they can be improved upon through practice and repetition. There's arguably nothing stopping an older player from having the same reaction time as a younger player if they put enough time in, which is why you also have pros on the older end of the spectrum like Hiko in Valorant and Daigo in the FGC. That said, the real question is how much of an impact do natural or genetically impacted skills have on a player's in-game performance? I'd argue not much unless you're at the professional level. For example, let's say you have two players, both without any prior experience to gaming, and one with better reaction time, hand-eye coordination, etc. than the other. If you drop them into a brand new game, I believe they'll perform somewhat similarly. If there is a difference, it would be minimal. That's because their natural ability has not been refined or tuned to the game to allow the player to take advantage of it. Even if you have the best reaction time, if you don't know what to look out for, it'll be useless. And players who understand the game better but have worse reaction time will arguably perform better. I say arguably because there's no real way to measure this. I also think that natural ability gets even more diluted as you go lower in rank. Let's say you're in the bottom 30% of the player base. While genetically affected traits like reaction time do play a part in your performance, you probably have a ton of other problems that are holding you back, most of which aren't related to genetics but are likely due to a lack of game knowledge or understanding. Unlike traditional sports, differences in genetics don't play as much of a role. In basketball, height is obviously a big advantage, something that a person has no control over. You can't train yourself to grow taller. In games, you can train almost anything given enough time. However, there's also the argument that some players have certain skill ceilings, but I personally don't believe in that. I don't know how scientifically correct this is, but I don't think it's a good mindset to have, especially if you want to keep improving. So, are some players just naturally better than others? Yes and no. Yes, in the regard that they might have a higher starting point in terms of raw ability. This might give them some small edge over others, but I don't think it has that much of an impact outside the pro level. At the pro level, every little advantage matters, but for the average person, the difference is insignificant, especially since these skills can be trained over time. This is just my opinion. I did a bit of research into this but couldn't find a conclusive answer, so I figured I'd make a video sharing my thoughts. I think it's a pretty interesting question and one that hasn't been talked about too much. Anyway, that's it for now. If you guys have any thoughts or comments on the topic, I'd love to hear them down below. Also, thank you so much for 65k subscribers. This is Eggwick, Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.